Today, we are going to hear from Meryl Redfern. She was with us in February for part 1. This is utilizing an online bulletin board using Padlet part 2. And our presenter today is Meryl Redfern. And I am going to be the host, the co-host, and the tech support today. So bear with me. If there's a little bit of delay in the chat pod, I'm going to do my best I can here. All right, so I am so excited to welcome back Meryl Redfern for part 2 of Padlet. Meryl Redfern is an educational technology specialist and marketing outreach professional with Dallas College. Here's a little bit about Meryl's very deep background in education. She has been serving in this role that she has now at Dallas College for 3 years. She has a combined 12 years experience as a public school educator, teaching the little ones all the way through up to high school, as a public educator, library media specialist, and technology and instructional coach. Miss Redfern earned her master's degree in education at the university, a master's degree in educational technology at the University of Texas in 2016. Her work and passion has been dedicated to instructors and students and the meaningful integration of technology. I am so pleased to welcome back Meryl. And at this time, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to have everyone give a big shout out to Meryl. And Meryl's going to turn on her camera and say hi and take over.
Hello, everyone. Can everybody hear me in the chat pod really quick? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for that wonderful introduction. I see some very familiar names here. Okay, so this is utilizing an online bulletin board using Padlet part 2. If you were not in part 1 and attended that session, that is in the PD portal, if you'd like to visit that session. For this session 2, session learning objective is utilizing the different Padlet types in the free version of Padlet for integration in an adult education and literacy classroom. We're going to talk about different ways you can integrate certain Padlets for certain subjects in the classroom. Okay, just a really quick recap for part 1. I'm assuming if you didn't go to part 1, you probably already know and have an account with Padlet. But in part 1, we defined it as an online bulletin or notice board. We created an account. We created the Padlet wall. We posted to that Padlet wall, and then we learned much about the posting and setting features. Again, if you want to revisit and review that information, it is on PD portal, and it's an hour-long session. This is great. This is the wall Padlet that we're using. It's the most common. I use it quite a bit. And you can see right now, as you're typing in, you can see other teachers and attendees put information on there. So you can use it live with your students. It's a great way to quickly assess what they're doing. You can ask a question, they can provide you an answer. This is just a quick way to do it. Okay, so at this point, we're at the dashboard of our Padlet. We have an account, we have a little bit of experience on the wall. We're going to talk about the first 4 Padlets that are shown here. Now, Padlet has 8 different types of spaces or Padlets you can choose from. We're going to look at the wall. We're going to look at the canvas. We're going to look at the stream and the grid Padlets. First, we'll discuss what they are and how you can integrate it into your classroom, and then I'm going to demo it for you. At the end of the 4 demonstrations, I'm going to ask you to pick one of these and do one yourself. So as we're going through, just kind of keep that in mind on which one you want to choose to make or create. Okay. So the wall is what we just did with the introductions. It's brick-like layout. It's great for icebreakers and introductions like we've just done. You can upload, at the beginning of the course, you upload your syllabus. You can list out your expectations. I used it quite a bit for writing prompts and summarizations and predictions. I'm library media specialist and a grammar teacher by nature, so I always go to writing and reading and summarizations and grammar. So since we already kind of demonstrated the wall Padlet, I'm not going to demonstrate it right now. I want to give us enough time for you to create any of the 4 that we talk about. Anybody have any questions about the wall Padlet? When you post to a wall Padlet, or when you post to any Padlet, you have options. You can add a video, an image, a voice. You can screen record. There's many things that you can do, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. Okay. The Canvas Padlet. The Canvas Padlet, you can move posts around and make connections between thinking. This is a great way to brainstorm with your students. This is a great Padlet to do live sessions on Padlet with your students. You can solve problems. I've used this quite a bit with math. It works great for number talks and thinking maps. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. I'm going to go back to this. Up in the left-hand corner, you can always resort back to your Padlet. I'm going to make a Padlet. We're going to select Canvas. And with every Padlet is so nice. They're going to give you a title and they're going to give you a description. So I want to use this one, let's say, for math representations. Let's do that. How many ways can you represent 500? We click on next. And also you can change the wallpaper here. That's always a fun thing to do. I think I'll keep what I have and click next and start posting. Now, best practice with posting is the teacher will post the first one. So she will post the first number, let's say, and then a student comes in and says, okay, 500 could be 250 plus 250. Or another student could say, well, also 600 minus 100 could also be 500. Let's say 700 plus, sorry about that, minus 200 is also 500. Now, if you want to also represent by base blocks, come here, you could also draw your base block. So each one could represent 100. Oh, this is not pretty at all. Bear with me. So I used to use it with my students. So 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. Save. And that is there for you. So when you're talking about numbers and connecting the dots and making connections and brainstorming, we always want to put the alike representations together. The way to do that is to click on these 3 dots, connect, and that's where you can connect them. Somebody unmute and talk about ways that you can use this type of Padlet, the Canvas Padlet, with making connections and brainstorming. Who's going to be the brave one?
I'll be the brave one.
Welcome. Thank you.
This is Edward Carrasco.
Mr. C, how are you?
Yes, fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Since I'm an ESL instructor, I was thinking of maybe selecting pronouns and conjugating different verbs and then having them draw this little arrow to connect to the verb that corresponds to the pronoun.
That is a great way to use this. And it demonstrates their thinking in a visual way. Yeah, that's great. Anne-Marie, do you have anything to add to that?
I think that's a wonderful idea. So, Mr. Carrasco, explain again how you would do that. I think just to repeat, I think that's excellent.
Well, just as she said, the number 500, I could easily just say, let's say the verb be in present tense, and then I could just list the pronouns, and over to the side or somewhere have them put like the am, are, is, and then have someone connect with the little dots, which goes where, what verb tense goes to what pronoun.
That's wonderful. So you could make it interactive too, and you could actually have them help you move things around too.
Yeah, that's the great option. You see, it's very diverse. This Padlet, you can use it for every subject. I
Right,
use it
right.
here for math, and Mr. C used it for grammar, and that's great. It's very universal. I could teach many hours on how to use Padlet in different content areas. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. C, for unmuting and being the brave soul to
You're welcome.
share with us. Yeah.
Are there any other brave souls out there?
Mr. C, thank you so much. Yeah. Is there anybody else that's just dying to share with us about this certain way you could use this Canvas Padlet? Okay. Let us move on. Thank you, Mr. C. Thank you, Anne Marie. The Stream Padlet. I really have probably overused this one because I come from the library, but this particular Padlet looks like a Facebook or an Instagram feed. Posts are listed one after the other. Now in settings, you can provide the students to post in the top or at the bottom of the teacher post. I always like the students to post below the instructor. So it's a good way just to scroll through to see what the students are doing. It's a great way to journal. We analyzed characters quite a bit with this Padlet. It's a great way to show understanding by text and drawings and video. I used it quite a bit, probably mostly for story starters, and I'm going to demo that for you, and also supporting details in a passage. So let's go to our demo. Oh, and Miss Martin has raised her hand. Please unmute and ask a question, please.
I'm sorry, that was by accident.
Oh, okay. Well, great. That's fine. You're getting used to the features. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Now with Padlet, the free version, you only get 3 Padlets as a limitation, but there's ways around that. So I'm going to delete this Padlet. There's different things that you can do. In the first way, you can just delete the Padlet. You're going to have to put the code in and then just delete. And it just says you have 2. So you have 1 more to go. So I'm going to demonstrate the Stream Padlet. Select. Oh, I like that picture. It's always a nice surprise when I make a new Padlet because it's very entertaining. So I don't know what I'm going to get. So I love that. So we're going to do, I want to have students post, I want their post to land under mine. So I'm going to change it to last, new post position for students. I'm going to click next, and I'm going to start posting. The first post comes at the very top. So I did, like I said earlier, I did this for story starters. So, and I'm in elementary all the way to K-12, but I spent a lot of time in elementary school. So bear with me. I was a once upon a time, princess that lived in a castle. I would often go to Google. I would find myself a princess picture. Just go with it. Okay, that did not work. Let's try again. Actually, I could go here for Google. There's with Padlet too, there's different avenues to do the same thing. So whatever makes sense to you, it's great. So let's go another image. And let's just go with this one. Oh, great. She showed up. Okay, so when you add pictures or video, it connects and gives it a visual to the story. I would invite students to add to the story. So the first part of the story is once upon a time, there was a princess that lived in a castle. They may add, and she was very unhappy about, and then they would leave it like that. And then the next student would come in and they would just create the story as a collaborative group of students. It focuses on prediction. They have to read it to make it make sense. There's rules and limitations to the story. This was a lot of fun at the very end to read the story and everybody have a connection or input into the story. Somebody tell me how they would use the Stream Padlet. Another brave soul. I would love to hear from you. You can unmute or put it in the chat pod.
Yes,
As we're-
it's Angela.
Hi, Angela.
Hi. I actually just put it in the chat, but I like this for an icebreaker. I typically am teaching IET L-Civics students. And so one of the challenges is getting them to talk more and feel comfortable with the English language and things like that. I think this is a great way to kind of start a conversation without it being like an assignment kind of chat board and things like that. This way you can actually get to know them. So I thought it would be a really cool thing for like an icebreaker.
I think that's a great idea. We have a lot of shy students, and they can also post anonymously and describe themselves and then have other students guess who they are. It's kind of juvenile, but it's a fun thing to do in a classroom. But I like the idea of introducing themselves.
And I want to share, because I'm not sure if you can see the chat pod, Meryl, but Kanisha also weighed in and said, I have used Padlet as exit tickets and quick story checks. And Angela says, I like that too, exit tickets.
Yes, exit tickets. And we're going to talk about a Padlet in just a few Padlets down in a few minutes about exit tickets and how I use those. Yeah, that's a great idea. That works so well for assessment and exit tickets. Thank you for sharing that. All right.
In our old test, when we used to do the best plus and all that, we used to have all these pictures in there, and you tell the student, tell me about this picture. And this would work great as well. You post a picture here, and then a picture with a lot of details, and then you tell the student, tell me about this picture. And then each student can go ahead and write a sentence or two, and that way we can check on their grammar skills, punctuation, and things like that.
Oh, that's a great way. And encourage adjectives, usage, adjective usage too. That's great. I love that. Okay. Are we comfortable with this one? Are you thinking about which one that you want to create? We have one more, I believe. Yeah, we have one more to talk about before I'm going to cut you loose and you can create your own.
Meryl, before we move on, I had a great question come to me privately. And this person asked, when you download these pictures from the Padlet, I guess, library, that beautiful picture we just saw, are we able to use those? Copyright protected, or is that just a library that they're able to use?
That's a great question. That's a library. There's already set photos that, Google and Padlet are very good friends, and they have given permission for educational purposes to use those images. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the grid Padlet. If you like organization and clear and cut rows and boxes, this is the Padlet for you. The grid is very similar to the wall, except that there's space in between the posts. I like the space. It keeps me organized in my mind. This would be a great Padlet to build community in your classroom. You could ask a question, allow students to respond. The assessment process with this is easier than the wall, I think. Rows will start at the longest post at the bottom. So let me go ahead and, okay, so this is what I was going to say. I use this Padlet most of all for like sentence structure. If I wanted to talk about simple, compound, complex, and compound, complex sentences, I could break it down in easy rows and boxes to do that. I also used it for science as well. And so let me just show you. I'm getting tongue-tied here, so let me just show you how this works. Okay, again, we would go up here to on the Padlet there in the upper left-hand corner. We could, and it wouldn't let me make another Padlet because we're only limited to 3. So I would just delete the Padlet, put in the code. Okay, and it gives me another space. We're going to make a grid Padlet. Okay, so again, Padlet is very creative, and it's going to give you a title and a description. You can always change that. Also, I want to talk about real quick, you can change the URL address as well and make it customized to your students. You can change the wallpaper to textures. That's nice. I want the students' post to come last. You can also provide reactions as well. You can have them like, vote, give a star, and then you can have them grade each other's as well. I use that quite a bit. I'm going to save it. We're going to start posting. So again, best practice, instructors should always post first, give an example to the students. We would do the four types of sentences. I would say a simple, let's say, sentence structure. I would go and I would find my video. Let's see, where's my video? Oh, no, that's not it. Well, if you have something saved to your computer, you could use that. Also, where is the video? Takes you to Google again. A lot of YouTube videos, Padlet, Google, and YouTube are great friends. So you could add a video to it, instruct students to view the sentence structure, and then they could come in and create you an example of what they've learned. Now, it gives them a lot of autonomy over their own learning. I used to post this at the beginning of the week, Monday. I would have them listen to the instructional video, let them process it. They would create the sentence. I would assess their structure. And then by the end of the week, we had a question and answer session on the Padlet about things that they missed, or they had, if they did right, or that type of thing. So the autonomy, that they felt very empowered to look at the video, process the information, and then post to the Padlet as needed. So somebody unmute again and tell me what comes to mind for you for the grid Padlet.
Meryl, could you talk more about how to use it for community? I was interested in that, and I didn't understand exactly what you were saying on building community. Yeah. Okay,
building community, like let me give an example. At the very beginning, if you wanted to build community, I used to always use it as an introduction piece. Like I said earlier, you could describe yourself, because students can post anonymously. They could describe themselves either physically or however, and then students would post in and say, oh, is this person, or is this person? So it would be like a guessing game, and they would get to know each other that way. I would have students put their name and 2 hobbies and why they do that. When the shy students would come in, oh, I play soccer as well, or I have kids in college as well. It makes connections and builds community within the classroom culture. Okay, thanks. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does now. Okay, sorry about that. Does anybody have anything to add to how we could use this grid Padlet?
Can you, Meryl, if there are no questions, if someone unmutes, we'll let them jump in, or we'll answer questions that they come in, but can you demonstrate the voice? I noticed that you could give voice instructions. I think that's a wonderful option for students. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So you would go here, record audio from your microphones. You'd have to have a microphone, on your computer, which most of them have that. Here's the audio booth. You would click on the microphone. It's now recording me and everything that I say for this instruction. Then you pause, play back. Okay, then you save. And then it's added to the Padlet. And here's just the play button. So this would be a great way to give audio instructions to anything that a student would need for content.
Okay, did you hear that better than we heard that? Or is it just on my end?
No, I heard it loud and clear because my volume is way up. There is a volume button down there, and also on your computer.
Meryl,
Okay.
one thing, Nancy, that's a great point. Meryl, one thing you can do is when you share this screen, there's an option to share audio. When you go to share this screen, there's a button you can click that says share audio, and we'd be able to hear it, I think. We can try that later.
Oh, okay.
Nancy, good call. I was thinking the same thing, and then I remembered.
Okay, great. Yeah, it was pretty loud for me. Anne Marie, do you want me to go ahead? I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. Where would I go to?
Okay.
Let me just do that later.
Well, what does everyone think? You want to hear that real quick?
Do it now. Do it now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
do it now. Yeah, I want to hear it now.
All right. So here we go. Go ahead and just stop sharing. Go back to the main room, Meryl. Now go down to share screen and find that screen again. Bring up share screen. Bring up share screen first. And down in the left-hand corner, there's going to be a little box that says share computer sound. Do you see that?
Oh, yes, I see.
Okay. And now go back to that. There you go.
Your phone. It's now recording me and everything that I said. So did you hear that?
It was the difference between night and day.
Ooh, sounds a lot better. Yes.
I learned something new. I love that. The presenter gets to learn too. I learn, really, I learn more from you guys than I when I present. I love it. So voice instructions are a great way on any of these Padlets for content. Anybody else want to share something about Grid? Or are we ready to be cut loose and create your own?
Waiting for consensus to come in.
I know.
This is a time you can raise your hand again if you want.
Yes,
on
please.
On your iPad.
Right.
All right, I think just go ahead, Meryl. And it is 12:08 right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's your turn. I want you to choose one of the Padlets we just talked about, the wall, canvas, stream, or the grid. Create the Padlet, share the link to your Padlet in the chat pod. And then I would love to see somebody unmute or hear somebody unmute and explain why they chose a particular Padlet.
I'm sorry. How do we get to that screen where you have to select from one or the other?
Well, you would have to log into Padlet.com. Oh, you mean on the dashboard?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you would have to log into your account, Padlet.com.
So if we don't have an account because we weren't in the first one.
That's okay. You can just do that right now. It doesn't take but a second to do that. When you go to Padlet.com, you can use your Google login to create. It takes you directly to the Padlet, and then you can click on Make a Padlet. Does that make sense?
Meryl, let's go ahead and go to Padlet, the main Padlet screen, and just show them how to create an account. Because we didn't, yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
I can put the link in the chat pod, everybody. Hold on to where to go. I think I can figure that out. So hold on, everybody. And then maybe you can go there, Meryl, and demonstrate to set an account up. So maybe the best thing to do is, many of you probably don't have a Padlet account. Let's do that. So we'll do that, and let me put the link in.
So when you click on Padlet.com, it'll give you a couple of options to sign in or create an account. I always default to my Google account because my passwords are used for both Google and Padlet. It just verifies your Google really fast, and it takes you directly into the Padlet dashboard. And that's where it lands, is on the dashboard.
Meryl, do you think you could share your screen and go to Padlet and show where they create a new account?
Sure, I was just doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, because we only see your PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Pardon me.
That's why. That's okay. Yeah,
okay.
Sometimes it's persnickety. So
it is.
And I think Nancy has her hand up. Nancy, question or still just hand up?
No, I thought you asked us to raise our hand if we were ready to work on the project.
Okay, you did, and I'm gonna lower your hand now, okay?
Good.
Can you see my Padlet now?
Yes, and it says you're logged out, and then just come into the main thing. There you go. Perfect.
Okay, I'm trying to log out so I can show.
Yeah, and Kenesha says I'm struggling to do this on my iPad. I'm sure, Kenesha, so just do the best you can and kind of just practice creating an account and looking around. I guess this is just practice time, right, Meryl? Depending on what we're doing, I would
Sure. Yeah,
try
just
to
practice time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then Sung, I hope I'm saying this right. I apologize if I don't. Sung Han shared her Padlet in the chat pod. I hope I pronounced that correctly for you.
Yeah, that is correct song. Yeah, I'm teaching
Oh,
yeah in
yay.
Excel, and then I'm using the Padlet in my
Mhm.
class, and the student they do practice their writing on the
Mhm.
like in a short story.
Wonderful. So Sung-Hung, can you share what the Padlet is? What did you create? What did you use?
Whenever they practice, I mean, just use it as a weekend memory. On Monday I'm having classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so yeah, just write down whatever they did during weekends, and they write a small thing, and then I mean the Padlet I just posted. That's about the inclement last. I mean Houston. I'm in Houston. So in cold weather, just they share their, story about the other day.
Thank you very much. Okay, Meryl, I think let's see if anyone else is ready. And you have yours up there. Did anyone, how many people were able to create an account?
Able to use the one that I already had, but I am just kind of figuring it out because it says that I already used all my free ones, and I'm using my cell phone, so it's hard for me to find how to delete it and do the process.
Okay. All right. And can you do me a favor, Mom Morphin, and put your complete name in the chat pod for me, please? Because I'm not sure what your first name is. So I need
my
that.
first name is MA, and that is exactly as it is on the PD portal. That's the reason I'm having it there like that. But I go by Isabel.
Okay.
Because I did take other trainings and they didn't give me credit because it was MA Isabel Morphin.
Gotcha.
So,
all right. I understand now. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Meryl, I think we can keep going, I think.
Okay. Just really quick, I want to show how we can delete a Padlet or export a Padlet. There's 3 workarounds where you can bypass the 3 limits of, not bypass, but you can manage 3 Padlets at a time. You can export the Padlet into an image or a PDF and save it to your computer so you can use it later, and then you can delete it. And then you would just do the same here, and then you would delete. It would ask for a code. Okay. Also, you can, if you have a whole bunch of posts, you can clear all your posts as well and use that Padlet again. And it clears the posts. Okay. Can everybody see the big question mark on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's look real quick. I know our time is going by very quickly. I want to talk about the next 4 Padlets that are available: the shelf, the back channel, map, and the timeline. The shelf Padlet is a top to bottom feed and has columns. It categorizes your posts. It's very much an organizational Padlet. You can use this in real time with your students, especially if you have a step 1, step 2, and step 3 process with them for sequencing steps. I've analyzed characters, and I And you can also engage one question at a time. And as a assignment evolves over time, you can add more columns. So let me demonstrate that quickly. So I'm going to click on Make a Padlet. I'm going to click on Shelf. I am going to do a science lesson. Let's do a science lesson with our students. And we're going to talk about the phases of matter. Let's say phases of matter. Okay, we're going to start posting. The first column would say solid. You could always add pictures with this, solid, liquid. And what I would do is have students come in underneath and provide characteristics to a solid, characteristics to a liquid, gas, and plasma, and so on. There are many ways that you can do this. It perked my interest when Mr. C said about the pronouns and such. This is a great way to demonstrate that type of content and grammar as well. Also, in math lessons, a math problem could be up here, and there's different ways to solve a math problem. So they could, or it's steps for equations, and they could list the steps down. You assign someone to do one step, assign another student to do the second step, and so on and so forth. And collaboratively, they learn how to process that, the equation. So that was real quick and fast, and I know, but does anybody want to unmute and tell me about how they would use this Padlet, the Shelf Padlet? It's very organized. I love the way it's organized. Okay. Anybody want to share?
Meryl, this is Meryl, this is Anne-Marie. I wanted to share that this is excellent when you are having groups too. So for group work, if you give them an assignment, and Kanisha says the students can classify items, but you could have students working in groups, especially if you are working in breakout rooms. You could all give them different assignments, and then you could upload the assignment there and have them work that way too. That's how I've used this one with students and teachers.
That's a great idea. Project-based learning in groups. That's great. That's a great way to utilize this Padlet.
Yep. And Kanisha has some great ideas. Kanisha, you want to unmute and share your ideas? They're great.
So one thing to differentiate, the students can insert pictures. I've done something like this before where my lower students will use words, and then my higher students will do a combination of both to further explain either a picture or explain their words.
That's great. That's a great way to use this Padlet. I'm going to write that down. Yes, that's good. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. I'm looking to see if there's any other examples, and we're at 12:21 right now.
Okay, we are running out of time. So maybe I will just talk about these really fast. The back channel is a chat-like environment. The creator of the Padlet posts, like the instructors' posts, land on the right side. When students come in, their posts land on the left side. I had a lot of shy students. So I use this Padlet to say on the right side, I would post, does anybody have any questions about this content that we just had? They can post anonymously and post all of their questions. 9 times out of 10, the question they ask is also going to help somebody else because they're afraid to ask the question. So the answers go on the right side, the questions go, or the questions go on the left side, and the answers go on the right side. It's really a great way to capture students who are afraid to ask questions. Has anybody used the back channel Padlet for anything? I'm talking with techies, I realize, so I want to give y'all a minute to tell me how y'all used it. I'm always wanting to know how to use different Padlets. Would you like me to demo this particular one? I think I will. I think this is the last one I'll demo real quick because this provides interaction.
And you do have a yes, and if you would like to put the link in the chat pod, they can all ask you a question. You guys can practice and asking a question in the back channel. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, here is my back channel. I'm just going to go with what we have. Here's the teacher post. Do you questions? I'm just going to, that's very, very general. So it's going to go on the left side. So I'm going to share this Padlet with the QR code. If you want to QR code that.
Can you put the link to Meryl, because they may not have the QR code?
Sure. I was going to, yes.
Awesome.
Awesome. See how the students can go anonymous and they don't have to worry about feeling insecure about asking any questions. And then I could provide, okay, thank you for your question. Here is the answer. See, it goes and it follows through all the way down. Teachers are on the right and students are on the left. Oh, it says, thank you so much for a refresher on how to use Padlet. You're very welcome. Okay. Looks like a text message too. All right, so the map Padlet, I use this quite a bit with pinpointing locations. You can choose different map styles in settings. You can mark different locations. All you do is click on that little plus sign in the lower right-hand corner and search for a place, and you can search by address, state, country. You can pinpoint locations and attach articles to support. That's how I used to use it. And then you can get deeper into territories and things and have relationships between the territories. I'm going to quickly just show you really quick. 3078. Make a Padlet. Here's the map. It will default. Well, every time I pull up the map, it defaults to something new. So you can change it at will right here, map style. It has different map styles that you can see. You can zoom out and you can zoom in.
That is a great feature, Meryl. I'm excited, everybody, because just think of what you can do with this. I'm sorry, I got excited. What do I do, guys?
Click here, and if we wanted to know where the White House was, let's say on Pennsylvania Avenue, it could tell you exactly where it is. And again, in this post, you could add links, you could search Google, you could add a picture, you can do voice. Let's do, well, and it'll remember what you've done on your post and bring it to your Google search if that helps too. Let's look at a good picture. Let's see. And it will upload it. You can upload articles. And I'm just using my mouse to zoom out and zoom in. This can make for some great social studies, historical figure content. Has anybody used this map Padlet for anything in particular? I've used it quite a bit for historical figures. We are going through the electoral process, and I use the map for that. It's a great way to put an image to content. Who would like to share?
And Sung Han says it looks cool. I just can't believe the options. And go ahead and unmute everybody. We're at 12:29, Meryl.
Okay, let me move on. Okay, we are at the last Padlet that I was going to show you. This is a timeline Padlet. You can place content on a horizontal line. It's located at the bottom of the Padlet to give plenty of room for content. Events in a story could be portrayed, historical events. Timeline can evolve as the assignment evolves too. So you can use this over time. Let's take a look at it really quick. Delete that. Okay, we're going to make a Padlet. We're going to do the timeline. You can see that the line starts there at the very bottom. So if we wanted to, let's see, I taught a lot about the capital of Texas and the settlers. So we could add, let's see, 1730. Austin settlers. Okay, you just go to here, over here in the lower right-hand corner on the plus sign, and it just continues on down the line as long as you need it. And then let's say 1839, Austin became public, something like that. It would just generate a different timeline. So somebody unmute or share in the chat pod how you could use this timeline Padlet.
I think also we can use it with pictures, put the order of how to make something.
Oh, that's a great idea. Step-by-step instructions on how to create something. Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. Anybody else?
And Kanisha says a self-timeline, biography, and research. Another suggestion in the chat pod was mix up the dates and put them in the right order on the timeline.
That's a great idea.
Can you move them around, right? You can move them around.
Yes, I think so. Nope, it's not allowing me to.
And Doris just had a great idea. Hi, Doris. She says, good for sequencing and reading. Great.
That is a great idea.
Angela says, I like Doris's idea as well. So do I.
Events in a story. I also used it for events in a story too, and not necessarily main idea, but the events in a story. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you all for sharing all that great information. Okay. Usually at this point, it would be your turn, but I know that we have run out of time. So does anybody have any questions about Padlet or this part 2 of Padlet? Any final thoughts?
This was really cool. This was more than what I originally thought the first time I was introduced to it. So I enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Good presentation. Good.
Thank you, Mr. C. That was Mr. C. Now, really, Padlet, there is so much opportunity with Padlet. I could go on for hours about different ways that it can be used. That's just like a small part of what it's capable of doing. And that's the free version. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of features just for the free version to make the connections with your students.
Good question. Let's go ahead and get Meryl's email in it. I do want to show my appreciation for everyone that joined us today, and especially Meryl.
Thank you all for attending. This is only my second time, and I appreciate you fumbling through this with me. I love technology. I love what it brings out in students and instructors. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me any questions, comments, ideas. I love to collaborate with others on how to use technology. I welcome all questions and comments and ideas. Thank you so much.
All right, so at this time, we appreciate you staying over 6 minutes. And again, thank you all, and thank you, Meryl, for this wonderful presentation. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend and a beautiful day wherever you are in Texas. Take care, everybody. Until next time on Tech and Tell. We'll see you back here again.